So, welcome to the Be the Spark Movement conversation. Today is July 19th, 2025, and we're going to be talking about education. We're going to talk about what we think is detrimental in our education system and some ideas of how we would like to experience education in the future for our children, etc. So, welcome everybody. And who wants to start? Karen wants to start. I can see in her face.
Okay.
Well, I must start. Um, so the question is, what is your experience in the education system, right?
Yes. Or how
What
you'd want to see it changed.
um well, I'm gonna answer each question individually
Okay.
because I have to give you from and and I'll be real brief with giving it so others that have turn to go. But coming up, it was very difficult for me to concentrate in school due to traumatic experiences.
Hmm.
Um, and at that time, the learning environment, um, it really wasn't sensitive or emotion to psychological needs. And I say that because going to school with traumatic issues and instructor or teacher seeing that you weren't able to really concentrate, they didn't have sensitivity to what you were emotionally experiencing, knowing that you knew the work.
Ah, yes. Yes.
So that was overlooked, you know. But however, as an adult, going back to school, I had a total different experience because I had more self-awareness and more healing. So I was able to put my all in what I already knew.
Absolutely.
And it made my life, it made a big difference in my life because I had done healed from the trauma. I was more self-aware of my emotional needs.
Uh-huh.
And I was able to advocate and articulate the things that was hindering and get myself the help that I needed to get through to the next level. When I was in school as an adult, and I'm getting ready to go back very soon too, just to let y'all know.
Wonderful.
When when I when I was in school as an adult, I was able to effectively let them know this is what I need help in because I'm not understanding how you're trying to explain it. And I know it's a simpler form to get your message across.
Ah,
And it helped me. It helped me to elevate and get to the next level. And that's when I started having my many accomplishments in the educational department moving up. So my experience in the beginning of childhood was very difficult
yeah.
because of emotional trauma period. It was very difficult. Oh, God, it's right.
Understandable. Yeah, that brings up a whole nother aspect of our situation. I mean, of our
I can you guys hear me? Is it okay
yeah.
to yeah, I'm
Just
gonna
give me
come
1
from a
minute.
different angle, but
I'm just
oh,
moving to plug my computer in because my battery is running low. I'm not going nowhere. Okay.
Okay.
okay, okay. Um, for me as a kid, I didn't think there were many things in place to help kids, like psychologists, school psychology, all that stuff that they didn't have when I was a youngster coming up through the school system. And that would have been nice, but we have all those things in place now, but I don't think it's affecting kids positively. I really don't. And I've been in the education system my whole adult life. In some aspect, I've been, whether it was in schools or group homes, or but I've been attached to it. And I just think education, I don't know, they've taken so many things out, like music and woodwork, those kind of things they've taken out. And it's like they've almost forgotten about a certain segment of the kids. Every kid isn't college material. Well, I'll put it this way, every kid isn't interested in college. I'll put it that way. I think we all have the potential to be college material, but everybody's not interested in that. But it's like they forget about a whole segment of children coming up now who have other abilities, and it's not as interactive. That's one thing that I see a lot. And another thing is the teachers have very good teachers. Good teachers don't have much say so in the classroom. I think I've been in classrooms where I think primarily it's run by the children. I really, it's all about the children, and especially the disruptive ones. This disruptive one can disrupt all. You can't send them to the office too often. They're gonna come right back. So I don't know. It's a precarious on the educational system. I don't know what to say about it as far as it just really needs improving, in my opinion. Really need, because we're going to lose a lot of, and then a lot of, here in California, at least, a lot of kids are being pulled out of the school too. A lot of kids, parents are pulling their kids out of, so the numbers are down too.
Yeah.
So
like putting them in charter school or
interesting.
homeschool.
They're going either to different schools or they're being homeschooled. Yeah. So I don't know. It's and I work with special ed kids, so I see it from totally different angle. And not special ed kids, so not as far as like mental, they can't do the work, but they have other problems that impede them from doing the work.
Yeah.
They're smart kids, but they don't want to do the work, and they come in with the attitude, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to do the work, so I'm going to stay out of class all day. And you have to follow these kids around the class, around the campus all day. And I don't know. It's a lot of holes in California. I can't speak for all the states, but in California, it's so much leeway for the kids that it becomes their school instead of adults running the school. That's how I feel. But that's coming from a special ed background too. So
yeah, that makes sense too.
Yeah, I was scared of my teachers, and I was more scared of what they would call home. But I was, they'll get paddled, things would happen, and nowadays it's like you said, Jeffrey, that the kids run the schools.
yeah,
Like, that takes the power away from the teachers, which to me probably takes the best teachers out of the whole profession. They don't deal with that crap.
Yeah,
I
totally agree with you. Yeah,
it's
really,
so, so complicated.
Yeah, it's crazy to see. It doesn't, and I can't name names, but there's kids I've worked with in the last school I was with this past year. There were a couple kids who, as soon as they get off, as soon as their parents drop them off, they just run to the playground. I'm like, well, what are we gonna do with these kids? I don't, I'm new to the school because I'm subbing. Oh, we just have to watch them and make sure they don't get hurt. So they're out of class and the kids understand it. So no matter what you say, there's no discipline as far as, I'm going to take this away or whatever. Nothing works. They know they can just come and they can play all day. And the normal kids per se are looking at this and saying, man, I have to, if I do this, I can do exactly what I don't know. It's just sending crazy messages now. So
I agree.
Yeah. And for me, those are like one of the most important and also confusing topics in the world, because, our kids are the most important things to us as a country, I think, or people. And, certain kids need, they almost need, certain kids have a bad home life. So they almost need school and their friends and even their teachers to help kind of raise them. But at the same time, there are certain teachers you probably don't want raising your kids. And it's just tough. And it's like Karen said, or you might have said, Jeffrey, they've changed so much of what they teach now. And, I don't know, I've not been in school obviously in a long time, but, it's like, it sounds like they kind of select what they teach about history and stuff like that. And it's like, our kids went to the public schools, and yeah, it may sound stupid, but like they didn't know how to like send a piece of mail. It's because
Mhm.
they don't teach stuff like that anymore.
Right.
And I still think probably one of the most important things I learned in high school was how to type.
Yeah.
The vocational stuff. I mean, that's like so much more important than what's 2 plus 2. You know,
Mm.
I mean, I,
Yeah.
I think history is very important. One, so that we know where we came from, but two, so we don't make the same mistakes anymore, or we try not to make the same mistakes over and over again. But
Yeah.
like you said, like some of the vocational stuff and some of the things, what do you need to know how to like, live, be in society, how to interact with people? They don't, and that stuff's music, PE, all this kind. I mean, that teaches you how to learn things, but expand yourself personally and how to
Hmm.
interact with others. And I just don't think that's there now. It
No,
doesn't seem
I
like
agree with
doesn't
you.
seem like it's there now.
No, I
Right.
totally agree with you. It's and they're on their iPad, these iPads. Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
almost I'm not going to be here in 30 years, I don't think. But and I'm just wondering what the kids of these kids are going to, I don't know. They're in front of machines all the time, and I think kids need to be outside in the dirt, rolling around. That's part of education too. But
Mhm.
when they're outside, they don't. I don't know. Kids just don't play the way they used to play. They're on the machine, or if they're not on the machine, they're thinking about the machine, or they can't wait to get to the machine. And I don't know. People
Yeah, and
aren't
it's
meant to be robots.
I
yeah, and
agree.
it's just, and I by no means have the answers, but I think was it back in it was the Bush Reagan, somebody put in things to where basically schools would get federal funding based on how the kids did in their end of year testing, which sounds like a good idea, but then they start teaching the kids how to take a test instead of
Yeah,
teaching the kids. And that
exactly.
and that's probably one of the worst things that ever happened. But up front, you're like, well, that sounds like a good idea. You want the good schools to grow and expand and stuff like that, but it's terrible. You don't really teach the kids how to learn. You're just teaching them how to take a test, and
Right.
it's
Yeah,
awful.
that's what it ends up
So
being. It's sure. My mom, when my daughter was in high school, she had this young science teacher, and everybody loved this guy. I mean, he was just so creative, but his way of teaching science was so opposed to what the structure was. And they ended
mhm,
up letting this guy go. And the kids petitioned to keep this teacher in this school. He was so creative. And he had people who were never interested in science because of his teach. But now they handcuff the teachers so much. The teachers
yeah,
can't be creative. They have to
Right.
go by this book and by this protocol, and they cannot deviate from that. And
And,
it's
and,
so
and I
terrible for
agree,
creative teachers.
I
yeah,
agree with Jeffrey on that because as an adult, and it's funny because I had a whole curriculum changed because I told the teacher, and I was in history, and I told him I refuse to regurgitate anything that's not true, and I know this not to be true. And here's where I get my facts from, and I think you should go look it up. So if I have to fail this class because I refuse to regurgitate this falsified information, then fail
mhm,
me right now. So he went, he took the information I gave him, and he looked it up himself. And they took the whole curriculum out for that semester.
Good for you, Karen.
Mm,
Yeah, because and that's one of the major problems now. Wait, what needs to be improved in the
yeah,
education department
I agree.
is give the people truth. Because nowadays there's information out there where you can go find your own history. If you're searching to find who you are and you go into your history, you will see the truth lying there in plain sight. Hmm?
I believe it.
If you don't stand for something in these places, they will give you what they want you to have. And if you are type of person like me that know better, then you're gonna demand not to just be given anything,
Right.
you know.
But the kids don't know that. The kids
right,
don't know, and the
But
kids
right.
can't
see, this
advocate for
is why
themselves.
we as an adult with young children entering the education department is to teach at home, inform at home.
Right.
When you go sit in the class, you're not just open to the bias that's being taught and the incomplete versions of other people.
Right.
Yeah. Now I
Uh-oh, we lost
definitely
Jamie.
agree with that. That I think sometimes, and another thing, not to put it all on teachers or the schools, parents. Oh Lord.
Mhm.
Woo, my goodness. Parents maybe lean on the teachers a little too much, and not enough stuff is done at home. So I agree with Karen on that part. That yeah, you can't put it all on the teachers. There has to be some stuff at home. You know, reading has to become important at home. Study has to become important at home, and not just throwing your kids to schools and saying, okay, you guys do it for me. That's yeah, it has to be a balance there too. So I agree with
You
that.
know, and this is why I commend my daughter. By the way, we're back in communal relation, something
Nice.
we really never had. But being that my mother has transitioned, and it's just my daughter and her kids now, because she's seen where she was pushing her love towards her father, who was never there by choice, but her mother, who was pushed away by force. She's seen reaching that direction wasn't conducive to her well-being right now. I put it like that in the clean cut version. However, she has been calling me every day, which is good for me because it has always been my prayer for them to return my child to me. That's my child. Like, and I knew that it would take erasing the forced data just by leading by example,
Right.
showing different opposed to what you were told. However, having a difficult time with my grandson, who has some type of trauma because he's done seen so many people transition, so much division in the family, to now having behavioral problems in the education.
Yeah.
So it was the open opportunity for me to be the mother that has given birth to her and given her facts of life, not falsified information, and even showing her where she lacked accountability. And it's working. It's working. And it took me to sit still and go through that pain to turn it into the power that I walk in. But and it's a great threat to an individual's education when there's division.
Absolutely.
When there's division, you cannot expect a student to perform to his or her highest capability.
I agree.
So where the parent takes the lead is by, and no, there's not enough hours in the day, but this is when we make a conscious decision what is mostly important to us.
Right.
And find that time to sit down and teach the ones we sending out.
Absolutely. It
So it
does.
starts at home.
Absolutely.
And with the way the world is today, you have the teenagers in the street doing the crime, the killing. Why? Because they have too loose of a leash on them.
And they're bored. They're
Mhm.
bored. They're not inspired.
This is why there is parents and grandparents to use our creativity to make them not bored.
Yeah.
Give them something that will teach them about their soul, make it interesting. You know, as an adult, on theatrical stages is where we release. And how we do that is we walk with a lot of gifts, creative gifts. We can teach through art. We can teach through dance. So if we take that time, like my daughter, I'm gonna use my example. She has a 2-year-old and a 14-year-old, a big difference. The boy is 14 and the girl is 2. The boy's seen a lot of trauma. The girl don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So, and I'm teaching her over phone calls every day. You know, the boy is like, I need to be up close and in person because he already feels he's a man. And I asked him about school, and he told me, just like you said, it gets boring. Well, if you know the word, why aren't you just doing the word? Because he's moving too fast for the class, the teacher tells him.
Yeah.
You know, so and now he done put in his mind rap music, because that's what he do when he finish a test. He sit down and write rap, and the rap is superseding what they're teaching in school, which is a bunch of lies.
Yeah.
Right? We have to take the wheel 2025, because what we were what wasn't granted to us, far as the compassion or the time to sit down, because we had to worry about going to work, cooking the dinner, cleaning the house, making our loved one happy and comfortable, to keep them there. You know, we just have so many things, responsibilities, that is not enough hours in a day. But we have to make a set time, like we take that, get up earlier and stay up later, you know, to ground ourselves.
Prioritizing.
Right. Thank you.
But
Thank you.
a lot of parents won't. I didn't mean to cut you off, Karen, but a lot of parents won't take that. At least my experience has been the computer and other things take the role of the parenting, and I think that happens far too much with the kids I work with.
Absolutely.
That's true, because
you
we
know,
stick
I'm
these
tired. I don't feel like
tablets
being
in
bothered. So here, take this and go.
Yeah.
I
Right,
think
we
that's
stick
happened.
these
That's a big
tablets in.
problem. That's a big problem.
Mhm.
know?
We stick these tablets in front of the kids and leave
Yeah.
them there,
Yeah.
and we carry on doing this, doing that.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
They become babysitters.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jimmy, I'm interested in how it is in Uganda, because y'all don't have as much technology and access to technology as we do here in the US. Hey.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Hey,
I've been
Jim.
following the conversation. Hello.
Hey.
Nice to see you guys, everyone. From Karen to Neil, I'm seeing Jeffrey and you, Kerry. It is a pleasure catching up with you guys.
Absolutely.
Today's conversation is interesting. It's interesting, very interesting and important. I'll first ask you a question. Let us ask ourselves, what's the importance, the fundamental importance of education to us as humans, as residents of this globe? Because education has been there from the ancient times.
Yes.
If you go way back, even if I was reading Greek mythology, I saw the Greeks had this setting of education. Education was a priority to society. But then, to my mind, when I dig deep into education, I think as humans, we chose education to help us shape society, to inspire us, to empower us, and to give us a guarantee of a good future and a peaceful society. So whenever I'm looking at education, my perspective is about how education can inspire humanity, how education can shape society, how education can give us guarantee of a safe future. You get?
Yes.
So that's why not only society, from governments to individuals, education is something where we need to see it. Governments need to see it, people need to see it, communities need to see it, and question the education system today, whether it's going in the right direction. Remember, I'm telling you, it shapes us. We give out our children to the kindergartens. The people we have trusted, I'm saying, we trust, we send off our children to kindergarten up to university. And we trust some people in the society. Those are teachers and the people who modify the curriculum. We trust them with the minds of our children. They teach these children how to think, how to go about life, because most of the time, the fundamental stages of a human being are the early years, from 1 year up to the 20s. The mind is just growing, and for me, I presume the rest of the age is inspired by these two decades. What your mind consumes during these initial ages will dig a foundation of how someone is going to live. That's why we see most of the times people, the way they behave, you look at behaviors. Karen was mentioning about the behaviors, something about behaviors in the Grande Son, if I'm to remember very well. But most of these things are coming from the schools where we send these children. And education is not only about, when I talk about education, for me, I think about it in a broader perspective. Not only what happens in the class, but even in the entire setting, the entire setting, that's school education. Then I'll talk about still education at home, because even at home,
right,
we are teaching we are teaching each other, we are teaching our children something.
Yeah.
So even the setting where this education is being given, whether home, whether school, whether it's a retreat or a summit, anything, the setting also matters.
Oh, yeah,
where our children being taught from.
absolutely. Yeah.
You get?
Mm-hmm.
What are they consuming?
Yeah.
Who's preparing the education? Who's preparing what they are going to learn? And how is it impacting them? That's individual. Then we shall come at societal level. How is it impacting the society? Right. Then thirdly, how is it going to impact our future as all, as humans? Because trust me, when you look at people who are being, I don't know whether you have ever read about terrorists, the Bin Laden thing, how they used to recruit these children when they are still young. They infiltrate them with certain ideologies, and these ideologies grow. You get? I'm just showing you the power of education. It's not that these people were just chosen. Right. Some of them were coming from good families, good families without any hatred about anything. But these people just pick these children not by force. They teach them for a certain period. I'm just showing you the power of education, how it can even impact. And those sagas, the one that happened in the US at the Twin Towers and all over the world, in Africa, Kenya was a victim too. People lost their lives. But just because a certain set of people got children, taught them, they would come as if charity organizations in a country. For example, Kenya, let me talk about Kenya. What was happening in Kenya? They come, they tell the government that we are going to sponsor education in some schools, faith-based schools for Islam. Then they would teach. The government would put their teachers, would appoint their teachers. They teach the nation's curriculum, the country's curriculum. But still, these people would get some time off. Let's say in the evening prep time. During prep time, they would teach these children evil ideologies. They would shape their thinking, their imagination.
Yep.
This is a native. They have got a native, a child from the native country. They spend with him or her for something like 8 years. By the end of that term of 8 years, you will find that your son, my brother or my sister, will get a bomb, go into a building willingly without being forced, but with the power of the education which was put inside them, they go and commit suicide. They bomb themselves with other people. So I'm just showing you what is happening in the countries, these countries, this side. Some of the violence,
everywhere.
yes, the violence, some of the violence we are seeing today is having a root from education. That's why we need to question education. What we are doing here today is very, very important. Questioning education.
I agree.
See that
for the meantime, yes, Karen?
I said, I believe that when education becomes more about producing workers.
Yes, that's where I'm coming at. That's where I'm coming at. To me, the education I look at, the education I would recommend is the education which, whether it's home education, whether it's school or anything, let's say a short-term, sometimes there are short-term conventions which bring people together. They teach them about a certain theme. Sometimes even as adults, we are being given programs where someone pitches your program, that this program is happening maybe at a certain institution, maybe in a community group. Someone will be teaching us about this and that. But in anything, in any form of education, in its own capacity, for me, I think education would be about inspiring imagination. If we have to look at our imagination, yes. Teachers, the role of teachers will not be about teaching our children how to think, on how to create or innovate, but rather give them a chance to imagine, and for them, they're there to guide. If it was like that, to me, I'm one of those people who were lucky, and I got problems to have this independent thinking.
You know, also in the educational department, we have teachers that's human beings that does not know how to change hats.
Right.
And tend to go in the work environment for their shift with attachments of their personal issue, their personal life, things they have not dropped and left in that luggage, and carry those attachments with them, and it causes them not to have patience, not to be able to effectively communicate with the children, because they're carrying their personal issues into the work environment.
I agree. Great. Well, as so Carolyn, not to interrupt you guys, but Carolyn couldn't be with us today, and I interviewed her. She's been a teacher for 20 years. She's actually on my podcast too. So she was a middle school teacher for 20 years. And of course, lack of funding and lack of resources she sees as a huge factor. And she said that she's seen education shift from academics to social emotional learning. And I think that's been a detriment also to our school. And she says that COVID created societal issues that we are just now seeing appear in
Yes, let
in
me,
the system.
Kerry, let me interrupt you a bit.
Uh-huh.
On that, I want to share with you a story, which is happening in Uganda and East Africa at large, because now we are an integrated community, just like the US. It's now called the East African Community, as if it's something like a one country, one nation. So what these people did, they went to the original curriculum because of COVID, and they modified it. Now the children from primary, that's something like elementary. Is it kindergarten?
Yes.
Elementary, your side. Here we call it primary, up to secondary, then up to high school. High school. They changed, they modified the curriculum. Reason being because of COVID. But if you go into the critics who have been criticizing the modified curriculum, some of the things they identified is these children, they are not going to learn fully. These people came out as if they are sympathetic, but they have been how can I even
Controlling.
frame it? Limiting these children from getting the full education. You
Yes.
get
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Because we mentioned the shift from COVID, in the learning process. And I look at a percentage of the children since COVID that has been born, and the mental, there is a lot of children since then, since COVID, since 2018, 2019, have been born autistic or on a spectrum, right? But we know that this was all orchestrated to implement the plan that they already have been planning, because it's been a pandemic with the whole COVID thing. Because when I do research, I go deep. And I go deep into where it come from. Right? Now, all of this was part of the plan to get the world just how it is now, so they can really implement what the blueprint of what they have laid out. Right? So, of course, now it's going to be a problem with education.
Yeah.
Because our children and some adults has been altered.
Yeah.
Has been altered with a shot. So education now and from here on out is going to get worse.
Yep. That's why we're talking about it. We're going to change it, right? That's why we have.
Yeah, that's why I'm going where I'm
these
going to
discussions.
rewrite policies.
Yeah. Y'all were talking, well, we were talking earlier about history, and Becky Phillips, who is also an author, and she couldn't be here today, but she said in the past teachers taught history so we wouldn't repeat it. And then now they're erasing history. And she said specifically of Black and brown people, but I think it's all of history.
All of them, yeah.
They're changing history, manipulating history, erasing history to dumb people down. and
Yeah.
then they tell history so they can move us in whatever direction that they want us.
Exactly. No doubt about it. And
But
they're
So
you know,
making
in
that
us.
is
school,
their input.
if you notice in school, they don't teach you the universal laws, right? They
Like the spiritual part of, yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
they try to keep that out of sight and dumb you down with religion per se. Mhm. And I don't knock none of it, but I know I'm a spiritual being
Mhm.
living in a human experience,
Right.
right? However, they don't teach you the spiritual laws. They don't teach you to follow astrology. They don't,
No woo-woo, right?
right. They don't push these things on you to help your soul elevate. They piling stuff on you to dumb you down
Mm-hmm.
because they want to keep us in labels as illiterate because we lack knowledge of self first.
Right. Right. It's funny that you say that, Karen, because I had envisioned, and I think I made a TikTok about this, but like when we're born, we're like a ball, right? And we're whole. There's a wholeness about us. And then as we go through society, we get these little pieces sloughed off of us, cut off of us.
Mhm.
So where we become like a square so we can fit neatly
Mhm.
in the plan.
Yeah.
And so my thought is that we start, we don't allow those little pieces to be sloughed off of us or cut off of us
Mhm.
based on whatever somebody wants us to believe, because we're not meant to be in a box. We're not meant
Exactly.
to have all these labels. Like, I mean, yeah, culture is important. Absolutely. Own who you are, know your
Mhm.
culture, but we're not meant to be our color of our skin. We're not meant to be our sexuality. We're not meant to be our
Mhm.
socioeconomic level. We're
Yeah.
not meant to be our education level. We're meant to be these whole beings so we
Mhm.
can all experience each other and share our gifts.
Yeah. And
Like
all
he
those
was,
things are meant to isolate.
Hmm.
As long as they keep us isolated in these, then they'll do whatever they want. Yeah, all those things that you mentioned are isolation type things.
Yep.
Because us
Dividing.
color leaders in this community, here, if we look at it, and if we had kids, because we're talking about kids and education, if we had kids, look at the way kids interact with, well, used to at least, interact with each other. They don't base it on what Karen is wearing or what Jeff is wearing, or what Karen. They're based on, they just have that feeling. They're human beings down with human beings. And as they
Energy.
get older, then they get into little cliques. They learn how to become cliquish and isolated. And
but
that is the root of a lot of
and like
education and everything.
Carrie was saying, they snip pieces, right? But my motto, this is my motto, like the bowl you said, right?
Uh-huh.
As we roll into accumulating time here on this earth, it's for our remembrance to come back to us, right?
Mhm.
And once individuals begin to remember who they are and what their real purpose here
Mhm.
to do, it keeps you with your power.
Hmm.
You can no longer be destroyed because you have knowledge.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we are only destroyed for a lack of knowledge. But once we become knowledgeable of our history that they try to take, rename it, reword it, give everybody, you know how it goes.
Yeah. Call it
Mhm.
blue.
That's just like the map of the United States. I sent them on a roller coaster. When I told them that's false. That's not the real map. This is the real map, dude. This way I get my information from, and it came from history. And I sent them to do some homework, only for them to offer me a scholarship.
That's exciting.
Yeah. And I'm telling you how it go, because they try to use money to brush their, I'm not gonna say that, to brush things under the rug, you know? They try to use money to dumb you out. Oh, I'm gonna give you a scholarship. You just stay quiet. No, I don't want the scholarship. I want you to correct it and let the campus know the real deal.
Yeah.
Take it. I don't want the scholarship. I just want the truth to be told. So, of course, I mean, the talk of the school, because now they have to make changes because they done been exposed. And no, you're not gonna push my grade to push me to the next class, so you don't have to address what I'm pointing out to you. You have to let it be known to those who have not done the work that I've done. But I've done the work to bring it to your attention so you can do the work now as the teacher and let these people know the correct stuff.
But the thing is, how do we get that to the kids? Our adults. So we can manipulate and navigate through it. My concern is, how do we get kids to take their imaginations back? What do we implement in the classroom so the kids take, because we have, we've been through some stuff, so we can kind of navigate. Kids are impressionable. They kind of believe whatever's told to them by adults. How do we get the kids and their parents, I guess, to take their imaginations back? Because I see that feeling in the classroom, and it's not getting back to the kids. We may get it as adults and push forward, but the kids aren't getting this.
To answer your question,
for
me, this is how it works for me. Because every day we dress to go to the store, anywhere we go, we on a stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And do you know, on theatrical stages is where you release, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boys, they are interested, or it holds their interest to see something in comedy, to see something in a love story, so forth and so on. So we have to take the wheel and use our creativity, what it would take for each individual who knows their child, or knows what it would take to hold their attention, and do some acting with true live stories. That's one way. That's one way, because we have to find what gravitates their attention. Okay, they like watching movies. What type of movies do they like watching? They like watching action movies. Some like watching love stories. Some like listen to poetry. You understand? We have to go on theatrical stages.
So we have to write our stories. We have to
write stories.
I agree with that. We have to write our stories so our kids see it.
So let me ask this question, and we can go through everybody and kind of give this idea. I think we know what's wrong with our system. So what would you, and I'll tell you mine, what would you like to see as like a sample day for our kids? Like, our kids come to school, and what would you like to see be a sample day? Now, for me, I think the first thing you do is you bring the kids in. Of course, you have to make sure that they're well fed and well rested. And then that comes with parental responsibility. So we take teacher responsibility and put it back on the parents, because it's not our teacher's responsibility to make sure that our kids are well rested and make sure our kids are well fed.
Right.
Give
I
it
think
the
I
give the
agree.
responsibility.
Engaging more with the child to what did you learn today
Yeah. Yeah.
would be one of the biggest questions.
Yeah. And
I-
give
A lot
parents.
of kids come home today and can't tell you they remember anything from the classroom, but Sue took Mary's pencil and
There
John
was a
took
fight.
James' crayon,
Yeah.
and the teacher yelled at everybody. You understand?
Yeah.
To find out what their day was like, engaging in and then, you know, if it's something that they oppose that was really interesting, I'm getting tongue tied, interesting to them, then we lean that direction in teaching them something further. Just for the moment, because a child spends a lot of hours in school.
Yeah.
A lot of hours. So of course, when they come home, they ain't gonna want to hear nothing about school or learn. This is why we have to turn that into a fun activity.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
I think there's some foundational things that are parental responsibilities, like teacher-child
Mhm.
respect, teacher-child, accountability, and that is very lacking in this world.
No doubt about it.
like
Lot of
Especially
responsibility
in American
back on
schools.
the parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if I were a teacher, I would like just to start the day with like a meditation and then play, whether it's go outside and play or some social activity to get the kids involved with each other and like break up some of the cliques that seem to
Mhm.
always form. I would infuse, of course, yoga, journaling, and meditation in all my classwork.
Mhm.
let me
I
give
think
you something, Carrie, if I may. You said if you were a teacher, you are a teacher. Each one of us sitting here is a teacher because
absolutely.
we have some type of experience that's different from the next one that we share daily.
Absolutely.
So you are
Yeah.
a
And
teacher.
when I go into these classrooms, I of course push my journaling and push these things for the kids. But I have them like an hour a week or 2 hours a week. And
Mhm.
that's a whole different
Guys,
thing. But I mean, creative writing, like
Mhm.
just tell the kids to write about an elephant and let
Mhm.
them see what comes of it. I don't think my kids ever did any creative writing past elementary school.
Mhm.
I think we get back to the academics and then we teach life skills, like Jeffrey was saying,
Mhm.
like teach them how to fix the dishwasher when the
Mhm.
dishwasher's broken. Teach
Mhm.
them how to write out bills. Teach them how to pay taxes and all that stuff. I think it's very important because
You
people,
know, board games, right? Something so simple as Monopoly,
yeah,
where you're buying house, you're buying property, knowing that you can build if somebody lands on your property. Scrabble, you can make words. They have a Scrabble, is called Scrabble for Dummies, you
Mhm.
know, but it's a game and it builds their vocabulary.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think if I was going to implement, the first thing I would do if I had control of I was school, but in a classroom, the first thing I would do is they would have to come in every single day and say three positive things about themselves.
Mm,
Every single day. I didn't do it. I was part of a little I don't know what they call it. But anyway, they assembled some poets together a few years back. And they passed around the sheet of paper and asked us to write three positive things. No, three negative things that we didn't like about ourselves. And you'd be shocked how fast everybody filled it out. Did the same thing, split another piece of paper around to find out to write three positive things. And it was amazing how long that took. So we were
mhm.
really quick to talk about our deficiencies. But when it came to talking about something positive about ourselves, it was hard. With the group, this is like 30 people, having a hard time writing three positive things. So I think with working with kids, the thing I would do every day with them is tell me three things or write down three things, and you can't write the same three things every single day. It has to be three new things that you feel strongly about yourself. And I would do that. I would start off my day with the kids every single day.
I love that,
And
Jeffrey.
I say being in this portion of my life, a teacher with no degree, I love math because I know everything has to do with a number. I know even down to the alphabet equal out to a number. So I would play a lot of math games.
Right.
But I noticed with myself in geometry, even square roots, I love math, everything except for division. I love math, everything except for division. You know why I don't like division? Because it's separation.
Right. Right. Right.
Mm.
Yeah. I agree with you. And in regards to that, I think that there needs to be
Okay.
like,
Can I add on something?
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Jimmy.
To me, if I was a teacher, but I believe we are all teachers. We are always teaching each other, teaching someone along the road, along our community, something. We're always learning. Learning never ends.
Right.
But to me, if it was in the concept of children at school, if I was a teacher and this young child have been given responsibility to show them life, to teach them about life, because trust me, believe me, education is all about teaching someone about life, whether it's science, whether it's biology, whether it is physical education or anything, that's life, general life. I will not say I will begin, along my lesson, inside my lesson plan, I'll fix in something about brainstorming ideas, individual ideas, with free will, not being influenced by me. It might be about what they thought about at night or anywhere, but it's about brainstorming. They put it down, let's say generally, they put it down, or they are crazy ideas. So me, I always reserve some time. I think as a teacher, if they would reserve some time, look into these crazy ideas of these children, instead of criticizing them or throwing them away, because you find that sometimes these kids are thinking about things which are beyond their age. But it's not a good thing then to stop them from thinking this particular way they are thinking, but rather I think you guide them slowly by slowly as they transform, as they grow into a certain age, So for me, when they brainstorm, I think I would always get time to talk to them, guide them on how to think better. And for example, a kid tells you, I want to be a pilot. I want to be, let's talk about a politician. They want to serve their community. I want to be in the Senate. It's too early for someone in elementary, for a child in elementary school to think about that. But then you have got a snippet, you have got a clue about what is inspiring, what is interesting these kids. So when you start guiding them at that early age, you never know, this interest can grow.
Yeah.
And if it grows untamed, if this interest is not untamed, one day you'll find that this child whom you are teaching became let's say a congresswoman, okay, a congressman, but they are lacking some virtues. That's why we are having some leaders who are not competent enough, who are affecting our communities. But you never know, if they were tamed at an early stage, we would have better leaders. So I use that analogy with the congressman, but even there are many other careers, many other things which these children are dreaming about, which they are thinking about. And I think if you give them the benefit of the doubt, you give them the benefit of the doubt to think individually with free will without being influenced, and you get them inside your lesson plan. Let's say you have taught the curriculum-based teaching, but I think during your lesson plan, at the end of your lesson, maybe in between there, you give them a chance. It might be brainstorming about what you have taught them in regards to what they know about life, what they have seen in life. Then you shape their thinking. Rather, you shape their thinking.
Yeah.
You motivate them. You guide them. Sometimes they're having nightmares. They're having things which are frightening them. They think about something in a negative way.
Right.
But whenever you guide them on thinking better, on how to think. For example, I would tell my kid that, you know what, whenever you're coming up with an idea, always ask yourself, is this idea good to my neighbor? How is it going to impact my neighbor? Is it going to impact them in a negative or a positive way? Whenever you get a thought which you think won't impact your neighbor positively, erase it or leave it. There are many innovations we have been getting. I heard about the man who innovated the AK-47, that this man, miserable. I don't know whether you have ever heard about that story. He was regretting of innovating the gun. At first, after innovating the gun, he was very happy. But then when he saw what the gun did, how many countries it had disrupted the peace, how many kids had become homeless because it was a prominent gun in many wars. So this man, I'm just giving you an example. Now you never know this kid, okay, this man died. He died at a older age, but when he was still in school, you'll be surprised that the thing of guns interested him when he was still way back in school, and the passion grew. So this gentleman innovated this gun, but then it was one of the things he died regretting. He died an unfulfilled life to him. When I was reading his memoir, he died ungrateful. He was regretting, like, how I wish someone told me about this, how I wish someone advised me about this. So all I'm saying is, these things we need to share. We need to give these kids a chance. Interest comes from childhood. When they think, when they brainstorm all these crazy ideas, you get a chance now to teach them the curriculum-based, the social things. Like, for example, I've just given you a good example. It's not bad to think in that way, my child, good idea. First ask yourself, is it of good use to the society? Or not all ideas, not all innovations have to come into existence.
Right.
If that innovation is going to hurt humanity, please ignore it. That's why we are seeing many technology, many innovations. We are just embracing whatever comes, praising those people. But some of these things are going to damage our society. They're going to draw us near extinction.
I think
Just
that's a
because.
good way to put it, because it also teaches compassion and empathy.
Yes. So we have to give these kids a chance. And when you give them a chance to reason, to imagine by themselves, you now give them virtues. You don't have to tell them how to think. No. Let them think by themselves. They will also have that happiness, like, I'm independent, there is that joy you get when you independently think of yourself, but then you give them responsibility, that with having an independent mind, an independent, you have a responsibility to think right, to think well, to think in a way that's going to help others grow, to motivate others, to create a better community. Even if it's a doctor, even if this kid gets to grow and becomes a doctor, there will be doctors with responsibility. If they are teachers still, they inherit the teaching, there will be teachers who will be teaching with responsibility, with love. And
Yes.
that will take us back to the fundamental importance of education, of creating a better society. Education is a tool we use to keep our humanity safe, our humanity to continue going on.
Progressing. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. That
Definitely.
is it.
I love
That is
that
it for
thought.
me.
That's
Yeah.
a great point. Great point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Education should.
I like what you said, Jimmy, about saying when you
I
said,
appreciate that.
yeah, I like when you said, is it benefiting humanity? I love that. That is so deep. Yeah, make
Just
sure
look,
it's benefiting humanity. I like
just look at you. You are now a writer. Let's
that.
say when you're growing up, you're given a chance to explore all those ideas. And whenever you talked about these ideas, someone, let's say there is another Jeffrey. I'm not going to use your story. There is another Jeffrey growing up. This kid starts talking about the interest of writing books in this way, in this, the other way. Then you as a teacher, let's say Kerry is the teacher, guides this young man or this young woman on how to be a good writer. That is not bad, right? But whenever you are writing, write something which is going to help others grow, which is going to help others grow. Now you find, because trust me, I believe you people, you have ever come across some literature or some writings where you even ask yourself, what was this writer thinking?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Jimmy, you
I
froze.
think you froze.
He'll catch back up.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Think
Yeah.
about
When
what's the
writing,
impact you're
we know you have the right,
offering.
whatever is. I was on the other day, Colorado's bestseller. Yes, she was a very prominent author. She has ever appeared in the New York Times Magazine, and even in her state, she was celebrated, among the most celebrated in Colorado. So when we're talking about, because now she's in her late 80s, she was reflecting on her journey of writing, She told me about profanity. For her, she was telling me that she chose not to write anything with profanity.
Okay.
However, you have the right. So she was like, everyone has a right to whatever they think is not good. We're talking about censored association and stuff here. I don't know whether you are familiar with that. There's a lot of censorship. Some works are not allowed in libraries. So we're talking about that. And then she told me it's not good to censor. She doesn't support. That's her opinion. She doesn't support censorship. She believes everyone has a right to write whatever. And every book has a particular audience it's being attributed to. However, she said some things are not good. For example, about race, she was talking about racism, that you find a book which is empowering racism. And for her, she was like, some writers are abusing their responsibility. You have rather they are right. You have a right to write, but now you're writing something that's going to divide society.
Yeah.
Now, if a kid was, if this gentleman or this lady was shaped very well from childhood, she knows she has a right to write, to write any story. But now there is responsibility of caring for our society. Is what you're putting out there going to divide it? She told me she regretted writing a certain book which was directed to the Mormon church. There was a book which was reflecting on the Mormon. She was really regretful, remorseful. For putting out that piece of work. However, on the contrary, it was one of her best-selling pieces. And she received a lot of criticism on it. The church in Colorado and even in Kansas, the Mormon church was against her during that time. They wanted, I don't know, perhaps they even wanted to sue her. But then she regretted because this thing was dividing society in a certain way or the other.
Yeah.
The families of those who lost people during that time, because she, in the book, she mentions that these people, the Mormon church would put people who refused to believe, and they would be like donkeys, you know, pulling stuff. So the people, the families of those people, or the ancestry, people who had an attachment to that ancestry, or the people who suffered during that time, because the Mormon church had covered it.
Yeah.
And to make peace with people, they came out and they were very, very angry about the church, because some of the truth were coming out.
Yeah.
Then the church was also against Sandra for putting out something like that, which would influence hatred, pulling out past hatred.
But sometimes, Jimmy, in those cases, you save people too. It can be divisive, but sometimes that has to be exposed. Certain things have to be exposed so that people coming through it can look and say, "Oh man, I'm going through this." I mean, sometimes it's divisive, but sometimes it can save people too. So it's hard to, you know.
Now, for her, she was grateful at first that some of this history, because for her she had a chance to know about this history, because she had made her research. Her grandmother had shared some of the stuff with her, and her being old, plus even some of the people, you know, she's now in her 80s.
Right.
And the people she got research from are already passed on. She got this information and felt like people had the need to know about what happened during that time, because she usually writes about the Great Depression, most of the sagas that happened during that time. But about this particular one, she felt grateful. The families were thankful for her to bring out this truth, but then the church was not happy, because it was part of a certain new agenda of hatred. People started becoming furious. But you are right. Sometimes this truth need to be exposed.
Yeah.
Let me get my charger on as we conclude. My laptop wants to get off.
No, I think, wow. That's what I'm pulling from this, is education should be teaching us to have a better society. That's pretty.
That's the bottom line.
there, Jimmy. Yeah. And I think a lot of that is getting back to building community and understanding, like, just understanding, like, we all have a responsibility in this world. And your responsibility is to be your true self and to be good to other people.
Yeah. And in being your true self, allowing others to be their true selves and respecting that. That's it seems like an easy concept, it's just we have a hard time doing it.
So, but I believe we all have a responsibility. It's because education is really huge, and now from right now I'm seeing education as a weapon, whereby the state, most of the nation, in most of the countries, the state is having an upper hand in the education system, where now we as the citizens, we're having little power in influencing what is being taught to our children. We have little power in the curriculum. Whenever these curriculums are being created or modified, we have little stake. So if the governments would give us some, or would consult on us before making some of the decisions, some of the policies which they are putting into the education systems, because at the end of the day, these are our children. This is us. I have the fear that some people who are opportunists, they may take this as a chance to manipulate the education system, and for them they think they're manipulating, but you're manipulating a generation. You're manipulating the future.
And most of the people who are over that manipulation are not going to see the outcome
Mm-hmm.
of,
Right.
of manipulating
Yeah,
this
sure.
younger
Mhm.
generation.
Mm-hmm.
So what's their purpose anyway?
Yeah. For them, a lot of them is dollars and cents. The education is a big business. It's a $1 trillion business, a big business. So the people that are creating this protocol, they don't have a concern with how it's filtering down to these kids. They just see dollars and cents. You know, kids in a seat represents money to them. That's sad. We have to make it a humane thing. We have to make education a humane endeavor again.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's about. You're teaching little human beings, little adults. You're teaching and influencing and impacting. You have to look at it like that. You can't look at it just numbers and money and cents. You know, you can't.
Now, let me give you an example. In our country, 3 years ago, the president came out. We have arts and sciences in our curriculum. We have the arts curriculum and the science curriculum. So the president came out and boldly, national television, and was telling the citizens that, you know what, science is now the thing, and he was encouraging parents to take their children to science combination science courses, and he was discouraging the arts fraternity, that arts don't have a very good use to the society. There is little, from arts. And he went to a very large extent where he increased salary for the science teachers by 3 times the salary of the arts teachers, you see.
Mm-hmm.
And now the arts fraternity was left aside. It takes me back to AI. Why I brought that story, I'm trying to show, because now AI is like a storm all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Governments are encouraging, even our president, after that saga, after that that stampede, he came out still and was telling the citizens that AI is the thing. Now I'm showing you, for them, what they want is what they put into education. They don't give you a chance to think for yourself. They don't give a child a chance to choose. If they tell you science is the thing, you go there. Don't learn about history.
Don't question.
Don't learn. Yes, don't learn about history. Don't learn about music or psychology or philosophy. Going to science, going to tech, going to engineering, where you're just going to work. To Kereni's submission, they are teaching these children only to work for them, to work for the nation, to work for their governments, but not to think for
They don't want
themselves.
well-rounded population. They don't want well-planned population. They don't want us to think for ourselves.
And for me, with the AI storm, I think they don't want this art, that's music, independent thinking, philosophy, psychology. They want AI to take over the arts.
Yeah.
So the AI does the thinking for us,
Every-
the reasoning for us, creating the music you'll be listening to will not be coming from someone, because music was now
from
emotional.
AI. Exactly.
Yes, it's from AI without emotions, without a lesson. But now if Jeffrey, you're composing, you compose a song based on what's happening around you, on your emotions. You take a lot of time and humanity into it. But then they don't want that.
No.
They don't want books written by you, where you're going to take time. You go out maybe for a trip somewhere. You sit in solitude. You write a book which is going to tell a story. A story that's going to live. Now they want they want AI to do everything, because I'm into tech. I know where it's going. And when I reflect on some of the statements these presidents all over the world have been making, the policymakers, I think they are eroding. For them, is to their benefit. They're having an opportunity that they'll be controlling the masses without the masses questioning. But then we are going to put humanity at extinction, especially when we erode in independent thinking.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Especially when we erode some of these things.
Yeah, that's why it's so important for us to write we writers, we have to write our stories. If we don't, they're just gonna be lost. They'll be lost. You know, so we have to write them. AI can't do that. AI can't feel for me or you. We
Right.
have to do
It
that.
can't.
We have to do that.
I agree. I agree. I'm very resistant to AI.
Me too.
I have a friend, she's always like sending me stuff. She's like, you just ask GPT this. And I'm like, no.
Now,
Now I want
to
to
you,
think
my
it through.
friends, let me share with you a secret. To you, my friends, let me share with you a secret. We don't need AI. We don't need AI. Humanity, being human is beautiful.
It is.
Being
It
human
is.
is a gift.
Yes,
People,
it is. A beautiful gift.
this morning, I was in a conversation with someone. He told me, a young brother of mine, that you don't get to see the importance of something until you lose it. You'll never know
So true.
that your
Exactly.
small apartment or house. For us here, we're having huts, small huts,
Right.
where poor people live. You will
Right.
never, you'll be ungrateful because you are living in that hut. But when
Right.
you lose it, that's when you know that you have been very rich. You have been
Very
having
rich and very
something.
blessed. So true.
Absolutely.
So
So
people
true.
don't know that humanity, being human. Some of these jobs we need humans on them.
Yeah.
We don't need to. It's what I was talking about innovation. Not everything, not every innovation must be welcomed into our lives. Some of other
That's true.
things we need to leave them.
Yeah. So true.
Some of the ideas we get, some don't need to come into existence.
So true.
Not everything we think about, not everything that we imagine, but because we want to be praised, we want to be praised that we are the one who came out with something really new, something that's
Yeah.
going to change the future.
Mm-hmm.
But now, I don't know. If you are telling me that I can't, let's say curtains, because there are these things where I just pull my remote and the curtain is run over, where I don't need to tap the TV or tap the speaker. I just tap here. But then there is a beauty in going into the window. You look far through your window. You look at the evening sunset. Then
Yeah. Yeah.
you close
Yeah.
those curtains.
So true.
Your body is moving. You go make coffee by yourself.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Yeah.
humanity.
That's
We need
humanity. That's
AI.
so true. Oh my
Yes,
God.
we need
Yeah, you are
technology. We
so
need.
such a deep thinker. I love it. That's so true. I play albums, man. When I grew up, I'm a lot older than you, but when I was growing up, we had albums. And now you got CDs and you got the little MPs and whatever. But I buy albums now, and every 20 minutes I have to get up and change the side. But to
Right.
me, it's
To
so
me,
beautiful because I have to move
yes.
and do
To
it.
me,
I love it.
yes,
Yeah, I love it.
yes.
It's an
For
inconvenience, but I love the inconvenience. I really do.
Yes, sure. Because we need technology, no doubt, we need it. But then there are other things which are ours. Like
Yeah,
you get to smell that coffee that you have
yeah,
made instead of something just
yeah,
making for you. I've used
exactly.
technology outside when I'm coming home, but now I'm in my space, my human space. I make my coffee, I sit.
Hmm.
When we're having a
Yeah,
conversation, in natural conversations, I don't want technology to take away the humanity. So
exactly.
you have the right, you have the power over your life.
Hmm.
Choose.
He'll come back on. I just wanted to piggyback on what Jimmy was saying about watching the sunset is
Yeah,
how I see that.
Every innovation, you have to take it into your life.
Are you
My
back, Jim?
network is, oh, that is all. That's all.
Oh, no, that's okay. But I wanted to piggyback off what you're saying about watching the sunset is like, and that's how I see like going on a hike because
hmm
you can put on like the flipping images on your TV and be like, oh, there's a
hmm
peaceful waterfall. But until you move your body and sweat
exactly, exactly,
and walk up to the waterfall and you feel the
Mhm.
spray of the waterfall in your
Exactly.
face and you
I
absorb all
like
the
it.
negative ions,
Yeah,
that's the experience that that our world is missing a lot
Yeah.
today.
But
So
now,
true.
you know what these
So
people are
true.
going to do? You know what they are going to do? There is what we call the jet, the military. It has been in military research programs and stuff for rescuing people mostly, but they are going to bring it into hiking, where you don't need to move something, you just put on something and it moves you around. Now
Right.
people are
Yeah.
always excited. You find
Yeah.
someone who has
About that.
been hiking for the last 20 years will just
Yeah.
jump on a new technology like that without reflecting, but is this really important? Why do I hike? Most times it's the adventure. I want to move, I want my
Yeah,
body
exactly.
to be into it.
Exactly.
But then these
Yeah.
people with all that experience, instead of them guiding the other, they will just jump onto this technology. The company
Just
which
jump
has
on it
made
and
the
get it.
technology makes money. It makes
Yeah.
money
Right.
for them. All they want, they will tell you it's beautiful. It's going to make your hiking more beautiful, more
Mm.
enjoyable. For them, they make the money, and for you miss out on the humanity into the real
Yeah.
hiking.
Yep.
So true. So
Well,
true.
it's like texting too. Like if you have
Mhm.
a phone conversation, you hear inflection, you hear emotion.
Mhm. Mhm.
You hear more than you even can register and
Yeah.
like fathom.
Yeah.
But in a text, you're just hearing like the flatness of it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that
So true.
takes away connection too.
Yeah. It really does.
I don't know. I don't know. You guys, I resonate with you so much. We are thinking the same thing. If I don't
Yeah.
have time, let's say emails. Emails I can write. I can sit down, write to you.
Mhm.
That's
Right.
professional. But
Yeah.
then if it's about friendship, if it's about family, if it's about your marriage, you get time. You create time.
Mhm.
Talk to this person physically. If it's a phone call, you call them. There
Yeah.
is more in the voice than just texting. Sometimes
Exactly.
prompting AI to
Exactly.
write you something. You have got a message
Exactly.
from Jimmy, tell them this and that. You're not
Yeah.
even present. The other day I saw somebody, there is a tool they developed whereby you don't need to be in the meeting physically.
Mm.
You just give this AI everything about you, and for it to listen. For example, right now we are here with you. I will not
Mhm.
be here with you. I will tell it
Mm.
about our previous meetings, the 2 years we have been together, how you
Mm.
normally answer, what
Mhm.
I expect there. Then it will listen to whatever you are
Mm.
saying, and it will reply to every conversation
Uh,
on my behalf. And for you, you
mm.
think maybe I've removed the video and the audio,
Mm.
that I'm there
Mm.
listening, but say I doing everything. For me, I'm very far away.
Wow. Yeah. No, we gotta keep it human.
But then
Absolutely.
Much as we can.
that's not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
not
I
good.
agree.
That's not good.
Right.
That's not good.
No.
Your friends need to see you. They need to interact
Yeah.
with you more.
To interact with. Yeah. Yeah. And I think going back to
Create
education, I know we're.
memories.
Yeah. Create memories. Exactly. Because the experiences, we don't take any of this stuff with us. When we go, whatever we gonna transform to, we don't take any of it. The only thing that we take with us are our experiences. And these are experiences. We don't take words with, but we take experience, interactions with other human beings. We take those to the grave with us. We'll always have these. Machines, you don't take those with you. Computers, you don't take them with you, but you take these experiences. So these are sacred. If you look at them like that, it's sacred to
But then
interact with other
this is
human
the
beings.
surprise, Jeffrey. This is the surprise to the conversation we have had about education.
Mm-hmm.
What can make people to think
Oh, you froze. Say it again.
like
You
this?
froze. Say it again, Jimmy,
Because
because you froze.
without a proper education,
Mhm.
pardon?
Jeffrey said, repeat what you
Oh,
were
I'm
saying.
saying,
Rose. Yeah.
oh, repeat. I'm saying, what will bring us to this way of thinking? For example, the way we are thinking here for
Mhm.
is education. Because if the education has not been questioned, if the education has not been well set,
Right.
our nation, rather our world, our people will not be in a position to know what's good for them, what's good
Mhm.
for the neighbor, what's good for the future, and there
Yeah.
is no empathy in it. There is
Yeah.
no, there is nothing in it. So we shall end up demoralizing, destroying our society, destroying
Mhm.
our
Mhm.
our
I agree.
race, human race.
I agree.
But
Part
with
of
proper
what,
education.
well, part of what it does is it separates us from ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't listen to
Definitely.
our intuition anymore because we're all distracted,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
So
or
true.
we're so worried about what's happening with our neighbors or what's happening in Washington or what's happening, whatever, that we don't tune into our own bodies and ask ourselves
Mm-hmm.
what we need and what we want and how we want to feel. And then in turn, like we don't ask ourselves, how did that feel?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we
But
do
then
go out and go hike,
then
we're
the
just
big
like, thank God
question,
it's over. And we don't ask ourselves, how did that feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Kerry, the
Yes.
big question to you and to everyone here, who is going to teach, for us, we got a chance to know about this, but who is going to teach the other young child in kindergarten or elementary about intuition?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah, that's the hard
Who's
part.
that's
going to
part
teach?
of what I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's part of,
And
and I'll
you're
give you an
blessing.
example. The kids at the fun and fitness class that I taught this past year, I had them lay down and close their eyes, and then I put some soft music on. And so I was like, okay, how did that feel? How'd that feel in your body? You know, feel your gut, feel your heart, feel your entire body. And then I had them go back into that place, lay down, be quiet, close your eyes. And I took my water bottle and I slammed it on the desk.
Mm.
And I wanted them to understand what that feeling was in their gut when things weren't like that smooth, calm,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and just little things like that to allow kids to get back in contact with what their body is telling them
Mm-hmm.
that they need.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they got that one.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, that's a
just
good
the,
one.
you know,
And for me, I think humanity has forgot the main reason, the primary reason why we are here. We are here to live life, to live
Yeah.
life,
Mm-hmm.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
experience it. Yes, living
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
living is experiencing. But then many people are living this life without living it fully, you know. So I think whenever
Exactly.
this will be a prompt to you, whenever you're going out there today, if you get a chance to talk to a friend or family, remind them that we are here to live this life.
Yeah. Exactly.
Experience it
Mm-hmm.
in whatever you
Mm-hmm.
do.
Yeah.
Try to remember that.
Experience it fully. Yeah. Experience it fully.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You got to find time for your family, time for your body, time for your friends, time
Mm-hmm.
for your community,
Yeah.
time for your spirituality too.
Yeah. So true.
For yourself.
I'm gonna leave it with this. I know we've gone over the time. This has been such a good. But think about this. We live in a society in the world now that you can actually know what more about what's going on 6,000 miles away than in your own community, and that's a little. I don't know, that, to me, that's a little out of proportion to me. You know, we're got all this stuff going on. There's so many distractions. I'm not saying not knowing anything, not knowing what's going on around the world is healthy, but at some point, you have to pull back from all those distractions and reach out to the people right there in your circle, right there in your community, right there in your house. You know, so
Absolutely.
because there's so many distractions out there. So getting back to that part, those interactions that we can have every day that we don't have because we're thinking about what's happening for WrestleMania or whatever. So, yeah.
You're right. You're right. What a beautiful conversation, guys. I took some notes and pulled some nuggets out of there. And yeah, I hope people will sit and listen and contribute to this conversation a little more because it's
Mm-hmm.
I
so
think,
important.
I think, as we conclude, I think anyone will get a chance to view this, and whoever is viewing this, or will get a chance to view later. This has been a very good conversation, and it needs
Yeah.
to move on and on in our
Yeah.
setting, in our offices and stuff. It has been a very beautiful one.
Yeah.
I appreciate. Thank you, Kelly, for pulling this up, and thank
Always.
you everyone
Yeah.
for attending. Have a
Yeah.
lovely day.
Definitely. Beautiful. Thank you all. I appreciate you guys. And I love that we're still doing this. And Neil, you spoke the most that you've ever spoken, man. Thank you. Thank you for your input.
Yeah, it is early on.
Yeah, yeah. No, man, I appreciate what you said. This is right on
Oh
point.
yeah,
Yes.
it's good to see everybody.
All right, good to
Yeah.
see everybody. All right, everybody, take care of yourself.
All
Go out and
right.
have some fun. Go outside and get
Peace,
dirty,
peace
you
and
know.
love. Peace and
Have a
love.
good
Have a
Till
good day.
next month.
time. All right, no
Same to you.
AI. All right, take care of yourself.
All
All
right.
right, peace.
Bye.
Bye.